do I have blood on my nose?
No. Nora
Okay.
just had a nose job. No. Nora just had a nose.
Just a nose job.
And she doesn't want there to be any blood left.
There's just
Turn towards me. Oh, there is a little.
okay.
Underneath.
Okay. I just want to say first, I'm feeling a little under the weather, and yet she persisted. Yet we're still here doing the pod, so that's huge. That shows how hardworking we are.
Yes.
And I just got a nosebleed because I think after a while, when you're blowing your nose so much, you eventually just get a nosebleed. And we kind of were like, I had a tampon in my nose, and we were kind of like deciding whether or not I should just do the pod with the tampon in my nose.
Because sometimes people, and I know this isn't always the best method, but we sometimes take wacky routes, but sometimes a video will get attention because someone's like wearing something crazy or something is like, it's not about the content of the video. It's about like, she has a tampon in her nose.
Right.
So I was like, oh, maybe if you leave the tampon in.
Right.
But then it's like, okay, so what? A bunch of people watch one video because there's a tampon in your nose. Like, what are we going to do? Put a tampon in our noses every episode? It's like,
good. It's really uncomfortable.
We're showing our feet every episode.
I don't think it's going to happen again.
Okay.
And it really freaked Hanna out.
I've never
You better
had
not
one.
act like this at the surgery. I know you won't.
I won't. I think it's more like I've never had a nosebleed. So I think when one happens, and I associate them very much with children.
Yeah.
And I didn't have them when I was a child.
They're
so when
scary.
an adult has one, it's kind of like, what's wrong that you're having this nosebleed?
I used to get them all the time when I was in my party days. You guys can put two and two together. Anyways, but I also, not all the time, but like there'd be some nights where I woke up the next morning and there's a little nosebleed.
Gotcha.
But now it's just because I'm blowing my nose because I'm a little sick.
Okay.
But
I think of the day I have a nosebleed will be really scary. I think I'll really freak.
not at all. You can just call me and we can talk about it.
Okay. I don't think I'll do the tampon in the nose thing.
Yes, you will. You'll see. It works literally like a charm.
Yeah, but it's like, is that much blood coming out where I need to waste a tampon?
It's just that you need to plug your nose a little bit.
And aren't you supposed to lay back or not for too long though,
Not
right?
when you have the tampon in. It just like, it'll stop. The tampon is an amazing trick.
Okay.
And everyone
Starting off with a fun fact, just like in the
Fun
last
fact.
episode.
Oh my God, my fun fact was so long. Sorry about that.
It was funny how much detail went into the fact.
I was so excited.
Like you fully cited your sources.
I know.
But today we're about to do the intro. This is a big episode, quite literally.
Is. Oh, and the reason when we have toilet paper on the table is because of the nosebleed.
And we both believe that this episode requires a recap, like stories at a minimum.
Right.
Because I think this episode, one, directly relates to us, 20s and 30s.
Yes.
And I think we have a lot to say about what happens in the episode. And if you haven't watched the episode yet, then we won't spoil it quite yet. But if you have, you know there's a huge ending to this episode. It's quite the bomb drop.
It's crazy.
So we're going to give this one our all.
It's kind of like what we talk about a lot because, and we've been meaning to bring it more up in the podcast, our age difference and how that like kind of skews our perception of things.
And I also really loved, and obviously we'll get into it, but up until the very end, there is a resolution where it's a realization that like 30 somethings need 20 somethings and 20 somethings need 30 somethings. Like they are not to be against one another. Like 30 something, like I fully believe like I need Nora. And Nora, I think, also needs me. Like we are.
I literally just had a meltdown.
Like we are different, but we do not need to be pushing the other away or feeling in competition.
We're never in competition. We're always lifting each other up.
All right.
I love you.
I love you.
Welcome to the episode, guys.
I'm Hanna Drelander.
And I'm Nora Free.
And you're listening to
High Heels and Punchlines.
Season 2, Episode 17, 20-somethings girls versus 30-something women. The highlights of this episode. They're kind of brief because it all goes down in the Hamptons. The girls head to the Hamptons I thought it was kind of we'll get into that in a second. The girls head to the Hamptons because some real estate has opened up. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we needed the backstory on why the real estate opened up. Mm-hmm. Charlotte is lying about her age. Carrie becomes a quote unquote mentor, and Samantha's former assistant, who's a 20-something, throws a rival party in the Hamptons. And Carrie's question is, are 20-something girls friend or foe, like in relation to 30-something women?
One thing I have to say before we even start about the age stuff, because I feel like we're going to go on a really long tangent about this, which is great because we should. I love the girls' connection to the Hamptons because it's so realistic of New York. It's like they don't have houses in the Hamptons. They have no family members who have houses in the Hamptons. They just it's not like their parents' house. They always just find like little funny ways to get to the Hamptons, which is so classic NYC lady.
No, because like I'm not going to the Hamptons because like my family has a home or I'm connected to some big party. If I get invited to the Hamptons, it was literally going to be when you were going to have your boobs done in the Hamptons. That was going to be my reason for going to the Hamptons in the summer.
And then my insurance company was like, "Yeah, joke on you. We are not going to.
We're going to do Brooklyn.
You're going to Mount Sinai, honey.
We're going to keep it classic.
I was going to get this really nice, like I think my boob job will be great. By the way, it's next Tuesday, so and this will be in the past by then. That's so crazy.
That's really crazy. This is going to come out, and it'll be over when this comes out. The boobs will be done. It's so exciting.
And Hanna is picking me up and dropping me off and then going to kind of here and there kind of live with me on and off.
Well, because I'm going to be right across the street too for work.
She's just going to be here all the time and so that I don't feel sad.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we're thinking we're going to record maybe like one loopy episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that.
Well, also, this is the second to last episode before the finale.
Whoa,
I know.
Yeah, I think we should do some episodes with me on painkillers, kind of like the Topomax episodes.
Because those, like,
maybe you take one.
I found that I'm not gonna. I know that we after Topomac episodes were like, was that okay? But then we watched it back and we were like, this is amazing.
Yeah, we're like,
this is amazing.
Nora, up the
but
medication.
Like right afterwards, I feel like we always, whenever we get off track from Sex and the City, I always feel like after the episode, I'm like, was that okay? Like, are people going to want to listen?
Yeah.
But then we listen and it's like,
it's amazing.
They're going to want to listen.
Exactly.
But anyway, Carrie resolves it and then she like resolves and then unresolves her question. But what do you think about the initial question, 20-something girls, like, are they friend or are they foe?
I think that I have never felt such a large age gap in my life than when I turned 30. Mm-hmm. Like once I'm 30, anyone in their 20s it's like obvious to me. Yeah. But like meeting you, it was not obvious to me. So that was like very special and beautiful.
Yes.
But like you're like, I feel like you've like, well, I think you know this. Like when we talk about our problems, I'm always like, don't worry, when you're 30, this isn't going to matter. Mm-hmm. But like, also, I think you've gotten to the point where like, you're kind of in the mindset of a 30-year-old where you're like, I just want to get home early. I want to watch my shows. I want to clean my stuff. I want to like everything be like good to go. I'm going to take care of myself, which is very like 30s. Like my girlfriends and I from DC, my like little girl crew there, we're constantly texting each other like manifestation workshops that we could go to or like little like cheesy quotes and like that's your 30s. Whereas like before it was like, do you happen to know someone who might have ketamine for, you know, Richard or whatever, like whatever, you know?
I feel like separate from me, but like some of the people we hang out with in the Brooklyn comedy scene were literally like taken out of this episode.
Yes.
Some of the 20-somethings in this episode, it was a little cringe to watch, but it's spot on.
It really is.
I feel like I had the experience of being a 20-something mostly between the ages of 21 and 24. I would say I no longer, like I easily could have been any of the 20-year-olds in this episode from 21 to 24. I think I know, I mean, I know what happened. I really let loose in college and after college. And then during the pandemic, it was kind of like, what am I going to do? Let loose like at my mom's house? Like kind of, and like dialed all of that craziness back. Mm-hmm. I've also always been like, not mature, but like maybe a little more mature than people my exact same age. But I think I felt like when I left my corporate job for comedy that like, that's already, you're really letting things rip, you know, like you can also be having sex with strangers, unprotected sex with strangers. You cannot also be like doing drugs and being out all night and drinking a lot. Well, I never did drugs, but like, you know, the vibe. Like, I feel like I felt like my second half of my 20s, I've now chosen a wild choice in terms of like, I'm trying to become a comedian and a performer and a podcaster and like do this for a living and follow my dreams. I don't think that girl can also do some of the other crazy things I used to do.
Right. I feel like I'm maybe have a more youthful energy than most 32-year-olds. Mm-hmm. But I also like, I think like maybe I'm a little less mature.
I don't think you're less mature.
I'm wise.
You are.
I'm a wise woman because I've lived a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived many lives.
Yeah.
I said that to my mom the other day at dinner. I went to see her and she just like looked at me. And then after I was like, why did I say that to her? I was like, I'm really wise. I've lived like a lot of lives. And she's like 62 and she's like looking at me
too,
like,
bitch.
if my daughter was saying that to me, I'd be like, girl, shut the fuck up.
There's nothing worse than when you start to feel like you and your parent are on the same level because you're older. But then there's going to be a day where you're in your 60s and like a 30-year-old is going to say something. You're going to be like, shut up. Like, shut up.
I thought I knew everything when I was 17.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like 30 something feels like, we said earlier that we believe like by the age of 45, you kind of are who you are. Mm-hmm. But 30 somethings, that's the age where you do start figuring out like you have like a moral compass, like you understand right from wrong, you know, the actual mature decision to make, like whatever. In your 20s, you do not have that. Things are all over the place.
Some of my 20s like pop out sometimes, like me having like FOMO because I'm going to be in my bed because I'm getting my breast reduction is very 20s centric of me.
Can I tell everyone something you did that was very 20s?
What?
When my power was out. I had no power in my building and I was on the phone with Nora and I'm like stressed out. Like Wolf is away. I have to go charge all my devices and it's me and the dog and it's pitch black and it's nighttime and I'm tight on money. So it's not even like I was like stressed about going out to eat just to charge my phone, whatever. And I'm like venting to Nora and she started telling me something. And I'm like, Nora, I'm sorry. Like I have to go. Like I need to go like light candles so I can see in my house. She goes, all right, well, you have a boyfriend and I don't.
This was like last week.
It was really funny.
But like that's the thing, like sometimes my 20s pop out. Mm-hmm. But then like last night
I do as well. Like I know that I seem more mature, but like I am still 27.
We have some moments.
I have my moments.
Yeah, but you are 27. I'm 32. I got a lot of 20s. I got to throw them away.
Well, but I feel like I need to embrace my 20s because I'm gonna be 30 in 3 years. Like I should still enjoy the advantages of being in my 20s a little
You're
bit.
gonna crush your 30s. Like
I can't wait to be 30.
needed like God. I needed to find something. I needed God. I needed to hit 30, and it turned out it actually took 2 more years for me to really figure it out.
I thought the quote that 20-year-old girls are clueless half-wits.
Like that is literally what it is.
It's mean, but it's so true. Like a big portion of your 20s is thinking you know everything and you don't know a thing. Like you don't know a single thing. But like the 20s are the most confusing because it's the first time that you think you've figured it all out.
Right.
So when people try to tell you, you see me, I'm always on the defense. No one can tell me shit. Yeah. Because I'm like, I've gotten this far. I'm in my 20s. I've figured it out. It's like, Hanna, you haven't.
Yeah.
Like you haven't figured anything out. You spent the whole summer like unemployed. Like in what world do I have it figured out?
I think that like like sometimes when you come to me with a problem that like seems like when we're talking about like a boy problem, mm-hmm. right? Or something, it's like we have to always remember the age of the person or like, you know, whatever, because it's just like I think sometimes
Wolf is 26.
Yeah.
And a 26-year-old man is really different than a 26-year-old woman.
So I think that like you probably feel that more with Wolf, you know, maybe, I don't know. Like maybe you feel like when you're with him, you're like more like I have my shit together.
Yeah.
You know,
when I'm with Wolf, I definitely feel a little bit like I have my shit together. And I feel sometimes embarrassed when I don't have my shit together and I have to lean on him. But then I remember that's like his job.
It's crazy you guys are the same age.
I know.
In the most endearing way possible.
No, it's insane. We're the same age, but it's like, it's so, if you were to sit down, meet his mom and my mom, you'd absolutely see why I exist and he exists the way that we are.
And I think it's crazy. I think people probably think we're the same age too.
Mm-hmm. I wrote down that I think what's really tricky is that 30-year-olds still look like 20-year-olds. Like there's no one in their 30s. I mean, like maybe they dress different or like they're not wearing what some of the Brooklyn kids are up to, right? With their like kooky outfits. But they look cool sometimes. Sometimes they look a little nuts, I'll be honest. But I feel like 30-year-olds, if you like Charlotte pretending to be 27, like believable. Like when you're in your 30s, you also look in your 20s. So it's like you can all still hang out together because like you don't know, if you don't know people's ages, you just assume you're all the same age. But then someone says something and you're like, how old are you? And they're like 24 and you're like, of course you are. Mm-hmm. And that's why you just said that.
Right. And I also, I get a lot, even at the wedding I was at last weekend. I know I brought it up last episode too. Someone said, because my cousin is like 27 and someone was like, they're like, how old are you? And I was like, oh, I'm 32. And people, every time I tell people my age, they're shocked. Mm-hmm. They're like, there's no way. You look like you're 28 or 27.
You do not look 32.
I think part of it is because when you quit drinking, you stop aging. It's just, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Everyone who has quit drinking that I know just like looks like they're 32 forever. It's crazy.
I'm trying to think of someone who I know has quit drinking. I was going to say who is someone, but I'm like, we don't need to list people. But I'm trying to think of, other than you, people who like I knew while they were drinking and now I know. Well, I guess me.
You look great.
Compared to when I was drinking. I didn't look bad, but I didn't look
ages
great.
you.
It did age me. I also was doing just the crazy. Every outfit was nuts. My hair was being dyed black. I wouldn't leave the house without wing eyeliner.
Same. You know what I saw a meme recently? It was like, am I 36 or is J. Crew popping off right now? It's like, so me.
No, because, okay. Also, it's crazy because you think every year, especially past the age of like genuinely, I think 18, specifically for women, you believe that person you are that year is who you'll be forever. Yeah. And it's kind of jarring to now be at 27, thinking about when I was 21, how I thought that's who I am. And now at 27, I'm like, oh, this is who I am. But like at 32, I'm going to be so different. Like just thinking like at 21, I thought I had like my style figured out, you know?
Right.
And it's like, I won't have my style figured out. The second half of my life, I'll probably wear the same things. You know, like I'll think J. Crew is popping off. J. Crew is kind of popping off. I love J. Crew. Is that an old person thing?
It's very millennial.
Millennial chic.
Like it was very much like, I remember like if you had a J. Crew like outfit on when we were probably in high school,
J. Crew feels so Connecticut. Like, J. Crew is the one I'm thinking of. There's like one that feels very like nautical. Ralph Lauren. They're always on a boat with their knitted sweater. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. Ralph Lauren's also popping off. That's where Rachel Green worked.
But you know where we're dedicated.
Old Navy.
But some girls are ageless and it's Old Navy.
Yeah, I feel like I've always loved Old Navy.
Sorry, I told you I was going to take
No, it's okay. I'm actually in my position that I feel the most comfortable in. So in this episode, the girls are off to the Hamptons and a lot is going down in the Hamptons. Well, this kind of happened in the city, but it really illuminates in the Hamptons. Carrie is like this guy she met in the city has a house in the Hamptons. He's a doctor. They're meeting up on the beach in Carrie's crazy beach outfit. Mm-hmm. Charlotte is dating, like, what is he, like 23? Like a 23-year-old man.
Yes, and I have a fun fact about him.
Like a child.
Yeah.
Samantha is fighting with her old assistant. And Miranda's being like such a grouch.
Yeah.
But I can see me being
when they're
Miranda.
like, can you get rum? And you're like, she's like, yeah.
She's like, for sure.
For sure.
Or when like there's puke on the balcony or something on the deck when she was planning on like reading her book in the morning. I just felt like, I feel bad. Sometimes Miranda, like, she had the last, this is her second episode where she doesn't have a storyline.
Yeah.
Last episode,
it's a big storyline in the future.
Last episode, her storyline was that she bought new sheets and that she got cum on her face. And this episode is that she has to watch the girls ruin her Hamptons weekends.
When they're talking about sharing a house, didn't that remind you of when I was like, I don't share a room?
Yeah, that was upsetting.
That was upsetting. When you turn 30, you realize you can't share beds or rooms with people in traveling situations.
Well, when my mom discussed that maybe she would like to make a guest room downstairs.
Wow.
So maybe because she has like friends that don't live nearby that she wants to come visit her, but she doesn't want them to have to like get a hotel. Yeah. So she discussed the guest bedroom. So then that would be a way for you and Ryan to come at the same time, because Ryan and I can share a bed upstairs, or he can have the futon and then you can have the guest bedroom.
Totally. Yeah. It's so funny though when it makes the switch. It sounds really bougie, but it's like when we go on trips now, it's like, well, actually that's not true. Like me and my friend Sarah, we split a room. There was a lot of drama around our room, getting our room, but sorry. But anyways, we got bunk beds, and it was actually kind of like funny, and it was like, oh, we're sharing a room. Okay. It was like hee hee. But like normally, like people, like when you're going on a trip and stuff now, we all like split up.
You know what I said to Wolf the other day that's about this? I said to him the other day, we were out to eat at like a diner. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then the day before we were at a coffee shop. And at the coffee shop, he tried a drink he would never have tried before.
What did he try?
And I don't remember. It was some like mocha latte, ridiculous situation. Whoa. Right. And then at the diner, he was like really looking over the menu. And I said, I know that you're not done maturing because you don't have your basic orders down.
Wow.
And
you said that to him?
Yeah. Jesus, and he goes, Anna? He goes, no, I just like to try new things. And I was like, no, but like yesterday we were at a coffee shop, and like a regular coffee shop, not like a fun one. And today we're at a diner. Like you get to an age where you know what you're getting at the diner. You always get the same thing at the diner, and you know your coffee order. And it needs to come out perfectly because it's you need your coffee right. Yeah. And I know that Wolf is not done maturing because I believe it's same with like, I can't share a room anymore because I have, well, not me, but like for you, like you have your system and your schedule and your routine. Like I can't compromise that for a sleepover with you guys. It's like,
we did have a really fun sleepover.
You and I.
Yeah. And I would do that again. But in terms of like us sharing a room with a third person, I'm not doing that.
But why is that? What do you think Ryan's going to do?
It's not Ryan. It's just like, it's too many people. It's too chaotic.
What if it was Wolf?
That's so weird, Hannah. I'm not sharing a room with you and your boyfriend.
Thank goodness you weren't around when my brother got married.
What do you guys, what would?
I've done this multiple times. Me and Wolf in the bed, and multiple times.
Would you want to share a room with me, with my boyfriend? And
if we were like going away for the weekend. Me and Wolf in the bed, and Liam has been on the futon. Ryan has been on the futon. We've done me and Wolf on the bed, George on the couch downstairs. Like, at my core.
So sorry. George is Hannah's ex-boyfriend. You and Wolf in the food on the bed, and George is on the futon downstairs.
Yes.
On the couch downstairs.
Yes, he didn't want to sleep on the futon.
What? So he said no.
Well, because Liam was in the futon.
Oh, only because Liam was there?
So would have been Liam and George in the futon. That would have been weird.
I love your dynamic with your exes. It's so fucking
There's
good.
like so nothing sexual there anymore that it's like we can do stuff that like other people would think is weird. I'm like, you don't understand how little is here for us other than friendship.
That is so good.
But
I think
at my core, my love language is people coming to my childhood home, hanging out with me and my mom and her friends, the game nights.
I can tell it was
going for
a magical
the beach
weekend
walks,
for me. Yeah.
like going to the favorite local spots. Like I love bringing people to that. So, and to me, it's like the experience is worth the sleeping situation.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I know, but know that it's not personal. It's a lifelong issue I've faced. You know, also, I think it also really goes back to me being an only child. And I think I pride myself in not portraying any sort of like classic only child tropes, except for that.
Well, because being an only child, there's like, you're not sharing anything.
Well, I love sharing like food and drinks.
But you didn't have
stuff.
forced sharing. Like having an older brother, there was like lots of things that I had to give up on so he could have, or things I had to wait so he could be in the bathroom first, or like moments in my life got paused because we were waiting for Randy, and vice versa, where like if you're an only child, it's not the Nora show in a bad way, but it's like there isn't another kid your age in the house that attention and supplies are being split between. Right.
I do think that I'm a very I make a lot of compromises now, and I share, and I've always been very like friend focused, always wanting to like bring people into my community and stuff. But when it comes to sleeping, I've always been someone that like needs to be alone. And that is actually going to be a huge problem in my romantic life. Like the other night,
that wasn't okay.
I didn't sleep. That's why. And then I called you the next morning, and we had, that was so crazy.
I forgot it.
I literally didn't sleep all night because I could not sleep with someone in my bed. Then I literally like called you.
She gave me the full rundown of the evening.
And then
later in the day, called me again and just goes, Hannah, I have the craziest story to tell you. And then she starts telling me, and it's so far the same as the morning, but I was like, maybe it's just necessary backstory for a new aspect. And then we were really far in, and I was like, I have to tell her I've already heard this.
It was the same story. I had no recollection of it.
Okay, but you had gotten no sleep. Now it makes more sense.
I didn't sleep, and I just, my Thanksgivings are really big, as I think I've mentioned before. They're like 36 people, and we all cram into different houses and stuff, and when we're there, I always run and get my own room, and I'm like, I'm sorry guys, like the room's taken, and like all my cousins know I'm just being diva about the room. It's like, and they're all like, Nora, what the fuck? Like you're an only child.
I can't sleep on my own. Like I need people there. I
was like that. Like I wish I like, how am I gonna have a partner?
Though was like a real burden.
How am I ever gonna get married? I can't sleep in a bed with them.
People have separate bedrooms with their husbands.
That's so depressing. Doesn't that mean
it's not? Cameron Diaz has it. They have separate bedrooms, and then they have date nights, and then they go to one of the bedrooms, which is kind of sexy. It's like all the unsexy things about sleeping they do on their own. Like if she wants to like put on a face mask, tie her hair up, I mean she probably still looks gorgeous, but like, you know, like pick her nose and watch a movie, her husband's not there seeing that, but then they have this date night and they go back to their room together, and that's like a sexy night. But then they can go back to like, because sometimes I will say, now that I live with someone, and it's not someone, like a boy, I live with my boyfriend, like it sometimes feels a little embarrassing, like coming to bed in lingerie to spice it up. Because it's like, he knows what I sleep in. Like, he knows how I look before bed.
Do you do that? Do you wear lingerie?
Well, I have a lot of lingerie.
You do?
I'm a big lingerie girl because I don't like to have sex fully naked.
Oh, yes.
So I have a lot of lingerie.
When we went to Victoria's Secret.
But sometimes the vibe will be that, like, it's about to happen. Like, it's on. Like, the vibe is there. And sometimes I just, like, don't feel sexy. So I'm like, okay, like, I gotta put on my lingerie. And then it's, like, it's so obvious it's about to happen because, like, why else would I have this on? Where if we had like a special night where then we went out and I had it on like under my outfit like I used to do, it'd be like so sexy because he's not seeing me in my pajamas every night of the week.
I wonder what it is about lingerie that is so sexy. Do you ever think about that? Like fabric?
Yeah, I know why it's so sexy.
No, I know why
it's like
it's
a
so
thong
sexy.
and
No,
my tits are out.
No. I know why it is so sexy, but like if you really think about it, like why a thong immediately arouses people when it's just a string. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm getting really heady.
Because it's a little bit of like...
What does it mean?
Can you guys believe this is us talking about the episode?
No, I'm sorry. I'm getting a little heady, but it's just like...
I think underwear, like clothing, lingerie and underwear.
Yeah.
That like shows you almost everything, but then like hides like exactly edging. What you want to see is very sexy.
Okay.
It's like when I come in, I have on just like a string thong, like not my usual day-to-day thong because I do wear thongs every day, which I learned is crazy. I learned no one does that.
No, my best friend from high school did that.
So I was getting a little shade from it about it the other day.
I wish I could do that. I need like a whole like diaper at this point.
Reasons to look forward to your 30s.
Literally.
But like if I come in my like a string thong and then one of those bras that just like is like really strappy, like only covering the nipples, it's like he knows what I look like naked, but like in this moment it's like sexy because he's not seeing the whole thing.
I know, and I understand why it's sexy, but I mean like I understand that lingerie is sexy, and when I look at it I'm like, oh, that's hot. I'm just wondering how it all started. You know?
Well, that'll be a different podcast. Okay, let's talk about Laurel. I'll give the detail on Laurel is a virgin
she's such a loser
writer.
She's not allergic. She's not allergic. She's not a loser because she's a virgin. She's just a loser
who happens to be a virgin.
She's just so loser.
She loves Carrie's column, which makes zero sense. She is also a writer. She somehow has a hookup to be out in the Hamptons. And she's a virgin who said a crazy quote where she was like, I'm tired of hearing about women wagging their pussy at every good looking guy, which was like, Carrie was stunned, but I guess like Carrie had to accept it because like this girl was doing her nails. But what did you even think about Laurel? Like, did we need Laurel?
No.
Like,
I actually, every time she came on the screen, I got bored.
She
I was
must
just kind of like, oh God, not this bitch again.
We must have just needed her as a distraction so we'd really be shocked at the ending.
Maybe. Because like
the whole Laurel 100% seemed nutty. Like she was up Carrie's ass, but like seemed to be completely against everything Carrie believes in.
Well, it's interesting when people, so in some ways Carrie is like the sexy sex columnist, and like people like Laurel are like, oh, she's so out there and scandalous, but then in reality she's really not, and like right. Samantha should be Carrie or whatever,
should be writing the story,
and like so it's just like funny that to put Carrie in a position where she's seen as like the sexy lady. I was kind of like, honestly, Laurel, maybe you're not that right. Maybe you're not that off. Like but technically right. She is. You know what I mean?
I just thought like, hold on. I want to like say this correctly because I don't want to be like judgmental about her virginity thing.
You can do it.
But like, it just felt, I do understand. There was a point where like women liking and wanting to have sex was crazy. Mm-hmm. But now it's so normal that I can see people like Laurel thinking like they're doing the brave thing by not having sex. Mm-hmm. But it's like, Laurel, like, get a life. If you want to have sex, have sex. And if you don't. But like being celibate doesn't need to be like your mission. Like it felt like she's only doing it because of what's going on in the world.
Right.
It felt like she was almost doing it in protest to like the way Carrie thinks. She was like these women who like claim to love sex. And it's like, yeah, Carrie, the girl whose nails you're painting in her bedroom.
Yeah. Well, I thought she had like a Christian thing going on.
I didn't like
wasn't
Laurel.
Even. Yeah, it was really annoying.
Laurel was Carrie's version of like, should we be like each girl, it felt like kind of had an experience with a 20-something, helping them understand if they should be for or against 20-something women.
Right.
And I think Laurel makes it easy to be like, they need us. Same with Nina at Samantha's party. Like Nina in the beginning is such a brat and is like, I made you, Samantha. I can do it without you. And then she throws this party and Samantha is a charming 30-something who shows up and is kind and congratulates her. but the party is like a shit show full of 20 somethings just trying to get drunk.
Samantha put her with the crabs.
I loved that. I was like, that is iconic.
So
but like
so good.
Carrie and Charlotte and Samantha pretty much Miranda's just like upset she's there the whole time. Miranda hates the 20 somethings.
Miranda like misses her sheets.
Yeah, she wants to be back with her her peach sheets. But let's go to Charlotte.
The crabs?
Let's go to Charlotte. And have you ever had crabs?
No.
Have you ever had an STD?
Is
that too personal?
No, it's fine. No. I've had like a yeast infection that I've kind of honestly taken care of myself, I think.
Brag.
But like by drinking a lot of water, maybe it wasn't a yeast infection. I've had like burning of the vagina. Oh. Like in my past.
Okay.
Several
That's
times. But then it just like went away. But it was because it usually happens right after when I used to it wasn't just random. My vagina used to burn when I peed after I was finished with my period. And I looked it up and apparently your like urethra is like dried out like from or the pH levels are fucked up or something after your period, so it makes it so that that you like kind of you get like a burning sensation. So every time I'd be like, oh my god, I have an STD, and it's like, 1, Nora, you're not having sex. 2, you just had your period. So like
every time you had your period
for a really long time, and sometimes even like now. But now I have an IUD, and it's like totally different. And like
that's
I only
terrible,
have like a little bit. Yeah,
I've only had burning pee when I had like a UTI.
Yeah, I haven't had an STD. Have you?
I had a HPV.
Wow, and there's a line in actually Girls that's like all the only cool like all cool girls have HPV or something.
Well, because the thing with HPV is like, don't let it get you down, because
no one gives a shit.
There's no way to test it in men, meaning only can you know when you have it if someone like I'm the only one who could find out if I have it. So if I told every guy I ever had sex with after I had it that I have HPV, which means one of them gave me HPV, there'd be no way for us to even find out which one it is. And it normally goes away after a year. If it doesn't go away, then you're supposed to be worried, because then it could lead to cancer. But if it goes away after a year, which it normally does, then it's over.
I thought it lives with you forever. Oh, I got the shots when I was little so that I didn't get HPV.
My mom gets really defensive about this, but we only took me for the first Gardasil. We dropped the ball on the rest.
It's okay.
It's okay. I mean, I've lived it now.
Yeah,
I've survived it.
You've survived anti-vax.
But that's me and my mom. My mom literally has like 12 COVID shots in her. She's definitely not anti-vax. Anytime they release any variant of a booster, like she has it. Like,
wow.
We
should get the most recent one soon. I think there's
It's actually been a minute since I've gotten a booster. I could use it.
Honestly, look at me. I'm like coughing, bloody nose. Maybe I need one right now.
Then we can go get one after this. Okay, so the Charlotte and the crabs I thought was really, though, like so 20 somethings.
Yeah.
And I wasn't partaking in this experience because I wasn't having sex in college. But oh my God, the STD spreading in the dorms.
Wow. Oh yeah, because you were an RA.
Was so nuts. And that I've never experienced like crabs as like a 20 something thing per se, but it was definitely for me like STDs felt like such a college thing. Like all these like horny teenagers, early 20s, having unprotected sex all the time because they can. They're just like horny monsters spreading STDs and fighting about it. This scene like literally took me back to my RA days.
It's really, what do you think of STDs? Like if let's say for example you were single right now and you slept with someone and they found out that they had an STD and they called you and they told you and they're responsible about it, would you be like, ooh, I don't want to see them again? Or would you be like, oh, it happens?
I'd probably be like, oh, it happens.
Okay.
I feel like also though, as an RA, like I had to do all like the like sex positive trainings and like how you're supposed to talk about STDs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I do feel bad because sometimes like there's STDs that you'll have forever, but like it's not your fault and people just like won't sleep with people anymore. like some people just need to have protected sex forever because of an STD they have
Right.
or whatever. And I feel bad that they like have a duty to be honest. And then it like people are nasty about it.
Yeah.
If someone got an STD, like if I was like if I wasn't dating Wolf and I was sleeping around and one of the guys told me he had an STD, but like was just honest, I feel like maybe though I'd be if I didn't know he was sleeping with other people, maybe that would be the issue.
Yeah.
But if I knew we were both sleeping with other people and then he got an STD, and as long as he wasn't accusing me, like I got this, so I don't know if you're sleeping with other people, if it's me, then it'd be like, ew,
yeah,
loser. Like
it's always weird to bring up because you just want to I don't know, I like brought it up the last time I brought it up with someone. I was like, oh, like, should I be worried? But it kind of sounds like you're accusing them of like, oh, are you seeing other people? And it's like, no, that's fine. Like, I know we're just lightly dating. Like, we just started hanging out. I expect you to see other people. And we're just like, are you clean? Like, what's going on? You know?
Well, you're not technically supposed to say clean anymore.
Oh, really?
Because it infers that people who have it are dirty, and that's not true.
Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled.
Well, so I posted once that I got an STD test a couple years ago that I was clean because I didn't have HPV anymore. I didn't have any, and I got a couple people that were like correcting me. But I felt bad. Like I don't want anyone to feel dirty.
No one's dirty.
But I wasn't saying
everyone
it like,
knows what you mean.
and I didn't feel dirty when I had HPV. I felt like I had joined a level of girlhood, honestly.
I think, all cool girls have it was the line.
It's true.
It's cool.
It's like if you go through your crazy 20-something slut phase and you don't get HPV, like in my opinion, like do it again.
Having been so close with a gay crew for so long, got very used to my friends being like, oh, now I have gonorrhea or now whatever. And so it just became very casual for me. And I was just kind of like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then I interpret it. And I think in queer culture in general, like people, like they can take care of their shit quicker. Whereas straight men are
it's less of a stigma.
Yeah, it's less of a stigma because straight men do not take care of themselves and won't like actually like do something about it because they think it's like weird. Like I don't even know what it is, but like perfect example, monkeypox. That shit. I mean, I know it's now coming back in like China or something right now, or I don't know. Or I think they said it was starting to come back, or like I don't know, whatever, or like New Zealand. I don't remember. Anyways, when monkeypox went out and like whatever, we like the queer community, the gays, they took care of it and they just like immediately got the vax, knew what to do, get it done.
Right.
And it's
on
like,
to the next. I
mean, honestly, because the HIV and AIDS, like they're just like, we know what to do, but it's like then COVID. And it takes us so long for everyone to get vaxxed, and everyone's like,
it's embarrassing. It's, just like, come on. It's like, let's just get our shit together and get back to living life.
Basically, gays should run the world. But like, what I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's so frustrating. But I actually did get the monkeypox vaccine.
I didn't, but if it comes out again, I'll get it.
I got it because we were going on like a trip where it was going to be a lot of gay people and we were all going to be in like bars and stuff, and they were honestly like my crew of boys at the time were just like, yeah, like you should probably get it, honestly, because we're going to be like out and partying. So there were like 2 women who got it. And I was just like,
you're like, just don't worry, I'm vaccinated. They're like, yeah, okay.
They like wouldn't let women get it for a while.
Well, yeah, I remember that. I remember when Ryan and Liam got it, but I wasn't allowed to get it. And after that, then no one was talking about it when I was allowed to get it. So I was like, I'm not getting it. It was also at a point in my life where like going to an appointment was like such a big ordeal. Like now, like if it's like make an appointment to get a flu shot and a COVID booster, like absolutely. But there's a point in your 20s where like making it to an appointment is like,
oh,
it's awful.
It's a rough one.
Okay, so let's get back to the episode because probably at like 15 minutes. And this episode has a huge iconic ending that I did not see coming because I was telling Nora, I don't think I've ever watched I don't think I've ever watched the show like fully in order. I've watched it a bunch out of order. But so we're at Nina G's Howdy Girl, whatever it's called.
Nina
G's Hoedown Hamptons party, where she stole Samantha's Rolodex to invite all these cool people.
It's crazy.
And the party's going amazing. The girls could not look hotter. Charlotte looks great, except for Miranda. That's a terrible dress.
Poor Miranda.
Charlotte, she had a bad time in the Hamptons. Charlotte looks great, and she runs into the guy who gave her crabs, and she like scolds. And she scolds him, and he's so dramatic. He's mad that she lied about her age. But it's like, you gave her crabs. That is so much worse. And he was like, but you deceived me. And she's like, you gave me crabs.
That was really crazy. I was so like, that was insane. By the way, that guy, fun fact, his name is Anson Mount.
Okay.
Mount. He played Greg, right? The crab guy.
The crab guy.
He also starred as Ben in the 2001 film Crossroads, in which Kim Cattrall played his love interest, Britney Spears' mother, Caroline.
Wait, can I tell you?
All comes back to
that
Britney.
People have been telling me to watch Crossroads.
You haven't seen Crossroads?
I haven't seen
Hannah,
Crossroads.
you can't go to the Mets game after this. We should watch Crossroads.
I'm going to go to the Mets game after this.
So you come back here after to watch Crossroads.
I'm not going to come back here after to watch Crossroads. I'm not going to be home from the Mets game till like 8 or 9.
It's fine.
Why don't we watch it when you're in recovery?
Perfect. That's actually exactly what I want to watch. Incredible film.
Okay, I'm excited.
Britney, I mean, it's like actually a really great film, and I will never forget that my stepdad took me and three of my girlfriends to go see it, because my mom didn't want to go, and he was like being really nice, and he's like, all right, I'll bring them. And so just like have that in your mind when
while
you watch
I'm watching it,
because it's hilarious.
People have been telling me for a while I need to watch it.
It's such a good movie, and there's a really core crew there. I mean, Anson's there.
Anson, Britney, Kim Cattrall.
It's crazy.
I mean, Britney, Kim Cattrall, it's stupid that I knew they were in it and I didn't see it yet.
Yeah.
But now I know about Anson, so it's like I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to miss something he's in. He's a brat in this, though. I hope he's better in Crossroads.
I don't remember his character that much, so I'm going to, when we rewatch, I'll probably have to dive in.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Also, when SJP is looking through her photo album and like reminiscing about
sorry, that scene was really funny to me.
when she's like
literally giggling to herself.
Yeah, she's like
looking at old photos.
I like kind of do that, honestly. And did you notice there?
Yeah, but like hers was like so scrapbook. Like I either like look through my phone or I have like printed out photos just like in a box to. I don't know how the scrapbook came to be, if someone made it for her, if she made it herself, but her sitting down to just giggle.
It was very cute. Scrapbooks were really in like 2000. I remember I think I took like a scrapbooking class at some point.
Wow. There was a figure it out on your own.
It was just like, it's actually pretty complicated. You got to get the right tools, and like you have to, it's a pretty complicated game. I'm going to make us a scrapbook.
Very nice.
God, we'll never forget about whose scrapbook.
I'll literally never forget about their scrapbook.
Oh my God, he listens to this, but can I say it?
Yes, but then we have to talk about the big ending.
Okay.
Only because I have to leave at a certain time.
But if she doesn't leave, then we can watch Crossroads. Okay.
No, I'm definitely leaving.
Okay.
I have tickets to a game.
I know. I'm just kidding. The one thing I have to say about the scrapbook, there's a picture of Sarah and Matthew kissing in that scrapbook. In that scrapbook.
What a little sneaky sneak.
As you're browsing through.
Oh my
Matthew
goodness. Do you like them as like a celebrity couple?
It's so random.
It's so random. You know what it is about them? They're not like a celebrity couple that like I count on. Like there's a couple of celebrity couples where if they break up, I'd think like love's dead,
Yeah.
But it's like
Kyle and Mauricio, dead.
But like they've been together for so long that it's also like I do want them to make it.
Yeah.
And there must be something going on privately again behind closed doors that we don't see in the outside world. Because literally from the outside looking in, it's like, what are we doing together?
Yeah.
But there must be something happening.
It's so crazy.
And I will say, being in a relationship, it's so easy to judge other people's relationships. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm in a relationship, there's so much that happens one-on-one that no one ever sees that like is why people stay, you know?
I know. We were just talking about this. Yeah. And it's like, what is that?
It's like, it's when you're like, before I was dating Wolf, anyone who I didn't like their boyfriend, I would be like, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
Leave. We're done.
Yeah.
This is done.
Yeah.
But now, not saying people tell me to leave Wolf, but like, there's so many moments Wolf and I have together that like no one would ever know about or see. And that it'd be weird if I kept resharing them.
Yeah.
That it's like, if someone didn't like Wolf, I'd be like, well, I don't care. Like, you don't see X,
right.
Y, Z. You don't see what he gives to me.
Right. And that was something that I feel like I grew a little bit when you told me that, because you were explaining how people had previously told you to leave Wolf. And then you were like, a straight man is never going to be your best friend with all of your homies. And I was like, because every time I'd go on a date, I'd be like, could I see this guy like hanging out with us? Like, and it's like, Nora, it doesn't matter. Like, just think about it, whether you want to hang out with him, because at the end of the day, he's a straight man. He's going to suck. Like,
right. There's going to be moments where like Wolf is like not the most fun hang. Yeah. There's going to be moments where he doesn't get the vibe.
I'm not going to like bring him to Old Navy. Actually, I'm going to get him. I'm going to bring him to Old Navy, get some clothes. But I'm not going to
go to Old Navy.
Well, yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's easy. I felt like when I was first dating, like you want this person to be your best friend, for all your friends to love them. They go to everything with you. And it's like, that's not what anyone's doing.
You don't have to. They can just be your lover.
They can be just for you. And like, my thing is, Wolf is like kind of like shy and gets introverted. I'm like, as long as he's like polite when people come over, that's all I care about. And when sometimes he'll say like, oh, you're going, like, why didn't you invite me? I'm like, okay, well, like, you got to bring it. And then he knows to bring it. Sometimes he doesn't bring it though.
It's okay.
But he's just like my little parrot. My little. Okay. Anyway, the episode, Samantha, Nina ends up, the party's a flop and she needs Samantha to help bring it together.
Right.
So kind of in that moment, Nina reconciles with needing Samantha and realizing like 20 somethings need 30 somethings. Carrie kind of realizes like there's no reason after meeting Laurel, which I don't think is a good example of a 20 sign you should be threatened by, but she kind of realizes like 20 somethings need us. They need us, so we can't shun them and shame them. And then with her 6-pack abs.
That was crazy. And her abs looked insane.
Her abs and her cowgirl hat.
Oh my God, and the little thing on her arm.
Her little, what are those? It's not a bracelet, but those scarf.
A break.
She just tied a scarf around her arm. She was like, that'll complete the look.
And it did. It was so cool.
She looks fantastic. They end up having fun in the Hamptons. The girls are all together. No one's dating anyone. They're all having fun. And I didn't see it coming. It hit me like a brick. She walks around the corner and there Mr. Big is with some 20-something-year-old girl who we all know as Natasha.
Yeah, it's really sad. And then she throws up. That was really intense.
I actually, I felt it. Like, yeah. And it's like, you know, I feel like when you're 30, and I don't know, and you'll speak to this, but like, you don't feel older. Like the 20-somethings, you're like, you can recognize you're more mature than them, but it's like, we're not in competition. We're all trying our best to figure it out. And you guys, unfortunately, think you have it figured out, but you don't. And we have a little more clarity. Like we should help each other. And then there's the man who is back from Paris and never called you and is staying at some girl's parents' house. Like this 26-year-old, like, he doesn't even know her age. Remember?
Well, I think he did, and he was just kind of saying like
26, 27, and she's like 26, because
she knows
27.
that he's 20. She knows that he knows she's 26.
Natasha.
I mean,
also Mr. Big is too old to be staying at some girl's parents' house. Mr. Big could own a house in the Hamptons.
True.
I think that is embarrassing.
It was really embarrassing.
That is so, and I felt the way it feels. Like, you know, she probably just put Big, like she ended it because he's going to Paris.
Right.
And now it's like, you've been back for Paris for a while. You were meaning to call, but you didn't. Like, it doesn't matter what you meant to do. You didn't call.
Right.
She couldn't have looked better though. If you're running into an ex.
She always looks great when she runs into an ex. She
always looks great. She's so lucky.
I think it is true that people in their 20s need people in their 30s. I personally feel so old in the comedy scene. I'm always worried I'm like an old hag, and I tell you that all the time. But also, 23-year-olds specifically love me. They love me. And I've talked about this specifically in office settings. They love Auntie Nora. Like, I don't know what it is. I've talked about it with my friends, and I was like, yeah, like the other 30-year-olds in my office, they kind of blow. Like, I love hanging out with like the Gen Z crew. Yeah. That's like the one place where I'm like, let's go, guys. Like, everyone hop in the car.
Well, because it's nice to be the like cool hot aunt. Like, yeah. I can get down. Like, I can party, I can gossip, I can have fun.
Yeah.
But also, like, when you tell me you're making a bad decision,
I know what it is.
I'm going to say, like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I feel like a lot of my comedy is cool, fun, cool aunt energy.
You're Aunt Sassy. Do you know what that is?
Oh, it's Aunt Sassy.
You never watched The Comeback?
No.
Stop. Are you kidding me? You've never watched The Comeback? No. It was a show that Lisa Kudrow wrote and starred in as a former, like, famous, like, TV show. I think she was on TV. Yeah, she was like a TV show. She was part of like an iconic sitcom. Yeah. This was like, I believe, at the same time as Friends, but it didn't take off. But then it had a cult following. So then years later, she did another season, and it kind of wrapped up beautifully. She used to be on like a hit TV show, and now she's not. But she's like a really like funny, intense, kind of delusional person. And it's documentary style. And she's going back to a TV show, and she thinks she's going to be the star, but she's Aunt Sassy. And she's the aunt in like this jumpsuit. This isn't how I feel about you. I just thought it'd be funny to say Aunt Sassy.
I do kind of. I like, identify with this woman already. And she
like cannot understand why, like, there's all these like 21-year-old, it's like a TV show about like these 21-year-olds living in a house,
right? And
she thinks she's part of the house, and then they give her costume, but like she's like so delusional and so funny, and like her husband hates her, and her no, but like I said it as like a joke, like, oh, Aunt Sassy, but now that you don't know it, I have to tell you, but it is the funniest show. Like, it's just, like, the first episode, she's starting a coup. Like, it's this. If we're watching Crossroads, we're also watching The Comeback.
Maybe we only watch movies that start with C for the
Crossroads,
entire comeback. Call Me.
No, I'm not watching that.
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't believe that was a terrible intro to The Comeback. Anyone who's watched it, it's just like
Cinderella.
Okay. It's the funniest show. She is so wacky. Everyone else knows she's wacky, and she does not know that she doesn't think she's wacky at all. And she doesn't know that anyone even is like annoyed by her. And every time she gets the script, she's like, oh, I think they meant I need to go to the writer's room. She like has to go to the writer's room. The writers hate her, but it gets a little mean for a little bit of the show. Aww. And then she really reconciles it in the season years later.
I always say I'm not mean. I can just be really annoying. I'm always like, I'm not mean. I think I'm just like, I can be fucking really annoying sometimes.
We need to watch The Comeback. It's so funny. There's also her like gay best friend who's like her hair and makeup artist. Like, there's a couple moments where like that was literally what it was like to spend time with me and Ryan McCormick. Like, really, like any level she got to, his name's Mickey. He would get there as well, and it's like he didn't know he didn't pick up on her delusion because he's also delusional. God, okay, Crossroads and The Comeback.
I'm down. That sounds great.
It sounds amazing.
I just have one. I know we're wrapping right now.
Yeah.
I did like I made a little graph this morning or last night. What men that are 25 in New York are actually 18. Men that are 30 in New York are actually 25. Men that are 34 in New York are actually 31.
That's really spot on.
I literally like I was thinking so deeply about this. I was like, when I meet a 25-year-old man in New York, I literally think you have the brain of a 18-year-old. Mm-hmm. Then when I meet a 30-year-old guy, I'm like, honey, you just turned 25. And then 34, I'm like, wow, you just entered 30s.
Now, in a couple
But you're not
years,
30, you're 31.
Not 30 yet. 31.
I made this, and
you know what? Can I tell you what that makes me think of? Mm-hmm. I've had this ongoing theory for years.
Girls are better than boys.
Sort of. But the theory is the longer a man is in New York, the less available he becomes. And the longer a single in New York. And the longer a woman is single in New York, the more available she comes. I think New York, like, sharpens women up to become the best versions of themselves. And women really know how to, like, put their stuff first. So the longer they've been in New York, probably the more they've accomplished, the more they've grown, and they become like more available and the most available because they've figured out themselves because they know how to prioritize things. Where I believe men, when they first touch down in New York, they don't know about polyamory. You know, They don't know what's going on in Brooklyn. No. They don't know about open relationships. No. They don't even know that you can have sex with more than one person at a time. No. And so they touch down like a woman that's been in New York for 10 years and a man that's been in New York for 1 year. That's a perfect match. But the longer a guy is in New York, because men work backwards and men know that they can wait until they're 60 to have kids, that is just every year they're getting closer to becoming like less and less available because they keep meeting new women. They keep learning about new trends and new things they can do and new identities they can claim that aren't even true to them, that are true to other people. And I think the longer a man is single in New York, like I think the apps for dating in New York should tell you how long that man has been there. Because if you're scrolling on Hinge and you think this guy is great and you see he's been in New York for 9 years, halfway through that date, he's going to reveal he's only looking for an open relationship. But if he's only been here for 6 months, he could be your boyfriend next month.
And I used to have this feeling where I was like, I don't want to date anyone who just got here because they're going to think they're just looking for a tour guide. But then you put it in my mind, you were like, no, that's the perfect person to date. Mm-hmm. And the guy I recently was hanging out with, he's only been here for 2 years. So I'm like, in the sweet spot.
Wolf had been here a year when we met.
Perfect. It's like before they get shitty.
Yeah.
And New York really makes men really shitty.
It makes men the worst and it makes women the best.
And on that note,
that was our shot. I think that was pretty good. We recapped a lot of the episodes.
We tried.
Is Natasha? Actually, I don't know. Not a spoiler. Do you know what the next episode happens in the next episode?
I know all about what's going down with Natasha.
Is she in the next episode? The finale?
Well, we don't want to give it away to our watchers.
Okay.
She comes back later on.
I know she.
Oh, here comes Margot.
Get those wires.
A little late. Like a meltdown.
An hour late and $1 short.
I have to show you pictures. My cousin just adopted 3 baby kittens, and they were fostering them, and they're just like, we have to adopt all of them. They're amazing.
We should tell everyone that your views on Stinky have changed.
Yes, I love Stinky now, and so does Hanna. You should tell. You go first, and I go second.
I adore Stinky in a way that was almost unimaginable. I am like literally down bad for this dog. Mm-hmm. I bought him a toy that was like it was like a stuffed bone, but it had like 2 hearts on it. And he literally destroyed it because he's a big dog who chews and destroys toys. Like that's what he does. But part of the heart patching like was perfectly kept, and I hung it on the fridge because I thought it was like a gift from him. And now I love
Stinky too because he makes Hanna happy and
he's a sweetie. They're not the stigma. They're not the stereotype.
Pit bulls are great.
They really are. They're like the most loyal, loving pets. And it makes me sad when people are afraid of them. And it makes me sad when people like, my favorite feeling in the world, this will be the last note on Stinky, is I'll have the experience where people will like brace their dog as I'm walking by with Stinky. And the way like Stinky doesn't give a rip. Like he doesn't even look at the dog. I'm like, Stinky's chill. Well, he's not like 100% chill, but like he's not trying to fight dogs. Like he just wants to go for a walk. He just wants to get a little fresh air. You don't need to strangle your dog off to the side.
Yeah. It doesn't have to
Stinky's not interested in your loser dog.
Loser. Thank you so much to Sean Curley.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much to Becky Hermenzi, production manager, video editor. Thank you so much to Stinky.
Thank you so much to Margot.
She didn't do shit today.
And thank you so much as a 20-something, I'll say to 30-somethings.
What?
Like as a 20-something, thank you to 30-somethings.
And thank you to 20-somethings.
We need each other.
We
really
literally
do.
need each other.
You really do.
I almost just put out my hand to shake your hand.
We need each other.
We do.
All right.
I love you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.